Thank you everyone for joining the session. So we are sharing today the what's new for the first quarter of 2022. In our agenda today, I'm going to share those two highlights and additional notable item and updates that I want to share. One of the highlights is a nurse announcement about expanding the database search to include more search field. As noticed today, searching only by the title, also including the categories. We'll talk about it and I'll do a demo. And another nurse announcement will be the advanced search, the option to collapse automatically the search criteria form after a search is being performed, so the results will be visible at the top. The results will be more visible rather than the area that currently the advanced search form is taking. And I would like also to share some additional features that are coming in Primo V. I changed a little bit the format of the What's News. And the changes in the next two slides where you can see what's new, what is coming in the Primo February release and also what is coming in the Primo VE release, where I'm sharing the highlight that are both in the news for this quarter. I'm going to share with you currently what is coming in the very briefly on what is coming with the Primo February release. The top 3 items are one that I've already demo in the previous What's New because they were released first in the Primo VE. I will quickly brief on them to remind you that those feature exists. Even if you are a Primo VE customer, I think it's nice to hear again about those features and to learn more and see if you didn't activate, you can go ahead and try. So what's coming in the Primo February release is the quick link to pull full text for the CDI records. You will be able to see within the brief results a link to PDF or to HTML, which take you directly to the full text. Those links are not the open URL and the link resolver links, but the link that we are actually working with a list of providers to get them. Those links will be generated for you if you have rights, if you have full text rights for them, and if the records have sufficient metadata to do those testing. You are welcome to test that and activate this feature and give us feedback. Another thing that is being released in the February is the journal coverage. It's the ability to let your user see at first glance on the availability line the summary of the coverage for those local journals that you are managing within your Alma. You will be able to see the range up to, I think, 3 range of the coverage within the availability line. And if your user want to see more, he is welcome to go ahead and enter the full records for more details. So this is about the nurse announcement of the journal coverage. And in the February release for Primo, also already released for Primo V, is also the what we call the DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion, the ability of you, the library, to control or even to hide offensive subject terms that may appear in the subject facet. Mainly, we did this improvement, give you the tool, a file that you can manage, and if terms exist over there, they will be hidden in the subject facet. We mainly give it to you because we believe that if you find any encounter with an offensive subject, if it's your local data, you can more easily change it. If it's within the central discovery index, you do welcome to open a case and we will contact provider to fix that. But if this process is too long, we give you this tool in order to immediately avoid these offensive subject terms from the users, and so you are welcome to use this as well. And as I said, I'm going the last one, the expand database search to include keyword sets. This one is going to do a demo and share more detail on that. So this is what is coming in the Primo February release. And I'm going to share also what is coming in the Primo VE. Primo VE it's about the January, February, and March release, and those I will briefly go over the item that is here, and they are for all of those here. We have all of the one are in March. We all have a dedicated slide, so I'm going to briefly go over there. In the January, we release an option for you to determine, to set which holding fields will be indexed, so your user will be able to search for to get results also when searching on the metadata taken from the holding fields and not only from the bibliographic records. So far in Primo VE, we expose a configuration that control which holding fields to display. Now we are enhancing this configuration to also include which holding fields to index, so they will be searchable. So this was about more configuration option to index holding. Another thing that was released in the past in the Primo backoffice and now in Primo VE, if you have a Leganto reading list and those reading lists are not published, meaning they are considered to be in draft mode, we are now will avoid the indexing of this reading list, and also we won't show them as in the full record details section. We won't show for this course for the draft reading list course any course information field. So this is also something that improved. And as for all of those rest of the item that in February and March, I have a dedicated slides to share with you, so we can go ahead and review them within this presentation. Okay, so before I'm going and deep into the highlights, let's put us on the schedule. The February release was released 2 days ago on Sunday, January 24 on the Sandbox for the Primo customer, also for Primo VE customer for February. Primo backoffice will have it in the multi-tenant production 2 weeks from now, a local customer middle of February. As you can see in the Primo VE, you will be able to see we are currently on the January on the production, and you can see here the timeline. We do have twice a year a semi-annual indexing in Primo VE, and by the end of January it will be ended. The entire Primo VE Solar Index is re-indexed, so it's like a refresh and the data is more updated. So just also to keep you on that. And a very important note, and I think that you already were acknowledged on that in a mail through the Primo list, and also I think that there was a webinar on that. In Primo VE and in Alma, we are going to switch in 2022 to a quarterly release. So just to put you on the timeline, until May, you will have a monthly release as of today. June release is going to be only a bug fixes release and performance improvement. Same as July. July is going to be a bug fix and performance release. And the next and the first quarterly release for Primo VE will be the August release, where all of the highlights and features will be released there. So just keep this change in your mind, and also this is also one of the reasons that I a little bit changed the format of the presentation to share with you highlights coming in VE and in Primo in more order in more as a preparation to the quarterly release and to make some order, and if needed, if you want to welcome and give us feedback how to improve, of course you are welcome. Okay, so with that, I think we can go ahead and just go and deep into the highlights of the specific enhancement. So this enhancement of the database search is about expanding the database searches to include and to match against all the search fields. Today, before this enhancement, we only did a match against the title. Initially, we thought to avoid noises, we search only on the database title. We came to learn that the community want all of the search to be included there, like the subject that are dedicated to the database or by the description. So we added this also to be searchable. So this was the first thing that we did, expanding any query that is written within the search bar. We will try to we will attempt to match against all of the fields. This is coming in the Primo VE February release. And the additional item, and in Primo February release, we will release the entire capability. In Primo VE, it's split between February and March release. So in the Primo VE February, we are going to have expanding to search against all fields. And the additional thing that we add is to support the option also to search by the category name. So user can type within the search bar the category name, and we would like the category, the results to be retrieved as if we clicked on the same category within the database categories tree that is presented. So in order to support this option, actually you need to add some kind of normalization rules. The challenge from and it's going to be a little bit technical, the challenge of this, having the ability to index all of the categories for us and also for sites that have a multilingual interface was to be able to index all of the categories and including all of those translation, because the database categories trees are building on top of the data, on top of the smart fields. We are also supporting an option to, while you are changing the interface, to display the category, the language interface, to display the category also in another language, translated to another language. And we wanted to make sure that the index is also taking all of the translations. So this was a challenge, and you need to add, we didn't do out of the box normalization for that. We are asking you to add normalization rules to support also the taking from the code tables. So if you want to include the category, you need to index, to add normalization and make sure that categories are being, the databases are to cause a refresh, to publish all over again the database, so it will be a re-index and we will search the categories. Okay, so this was a nurse also coming from the idea, and I think a demo will be in a good time to explain and to summarize what I've tried to explain in words. So let's see. So you're going to see now that searching for Soviet Union here, okay, so searching for the Soviet Union here, retrieve a database not by the matching to the title name, but matching to the description. So this is a proof that now database is being retrieved by expanding the search to all the search fields. So this is one thing that we did. I will look for Eastern Europe, database that are deal with use Eastern Europe, and you will see that those databases are retrieved because they have the data within these descriptions. So this is one thing that I wanted to share. The other example that I wanted to share, that if I'm clicking now on civil engineering, okay, and I'm getting for database for civil engineering, and if now I'm going to, as if I'm a user and I'm typing the same category, I like those database to be found also here, the civil engineering, same for results for the database. So you can see that now the categories are part of the search, and you can see it also in the search section of the PNX. The civil engineering are part of the search section, therefore the match is against them. And then other thing that I wanted to demo, if now I know that I have also an Hebrew interface here, so this tree can be also supported in Hebrew. If I'm searching Hebrew, for instance, for the translation of civil engineering, that means that the category is also being indexed in another language, and I'm getting the same for results because we are indexing the translation of each one of the value. When we did this, when we needed to index all of those kinds of translation, we also had some kind of restriction. If one of the category will be like NBA with the dot, I can have it as a display name here. I can't have it as a code. I can't have it as a code for the category within the mark field. So you will need to note a special characters in the code or in your mark that will need to be avoided. So we will be able to be successful indexing the category codes because we have some restriction with some, for instance, the dot point. So just read the documentation and pay attention for that. Okay, so I demo what I wanted with regarding to this feature. Next is going to be the advanced search. The option to collapse the search criteria form mainly automatically when I have already done with filling the data, or also when I'm entering a permalink or for the advanced search, or if I'm using an hypertext linking from the full records display, I click on the non-offer. This link leads me to the advanced search. That means that I really want to see now results by this offer. I don't intend to, and I'm not targeting to see the entire search form, but I want to see the results of that. So when community described as this needs, what we decided to add this option to hide, to expand or collapse the advanced search, and by default to automatically collapse it when I'm entering as I said, as a permalink, as a hypertext linking, and if I already perform a search. Before I do a demo, I also want you to note that when the advanced search is being collapsed, you will have the summary of your search as today appear here. And I just want you to note that you can also, and your user can also change and edit the query using here. Not everyone are noticing that, so you can also change, and I will try to do the demonstration here. So this is something that to highlight as well. This was raised in IDEA. It's also an NERC enhancement. And it's coming first in Primo VE in March release. It will be available for the Primo customer on my release. Okay, so please note. So you can see that I have the search form here. Okay, hiding and collapse. If I'm searching for RNA, for instance, and I'm searching for data, once I'm searching, there is this animation of collapsing, okay? And the summary of my search appear here, as I say, and I can go ahead and also try to edit. I can also try and edit here the query here and trigger that. So this is one option. As you can see now, the results are really more visible. Another example, I think that is a use case where you can find this useful, is while you are clicking on subject or on offers, this link should take you to the advanced search. And what you really want is to the advanced search to be collapsed and summarize. I'm searching for subject, which is bioinformatics, and see the results as you can see here. Okay, so coming from whenever the query here is not empty, the advanced search will be automatically collapsed when you are entering the advanced search. So this is actually the rule, and this is what I wanted to highlight. And with the fact that this can be changed, even here I can change it to any field. This functionality already exists. I think you will find your user use it more, this option. Okay, next. So far I covered the main highlight that I want to share. More things that I want to share now that are coming in Primo VE. And I want to tell you the story of this actually development. We're talking about specialized search scope for CDI. And the story is, I think that 2 years ago or something like that, we released in the Primo backoffice an option for customer to define a search scope. We call it, I think, a selective scope for a selective collection scope for CDI. What we introduced over there is an option to define a search scope for the central discovery index that limit the search to a specific ebooks collection. I think it was up to like 5 ebooks collection, and you can narrow the search to search against CDI to only those 5 collections. So we released it, and we didn't see really customer using it. No feedback. I'm not sure if any customer activate that. So this was released 2 years ago in the Primo backoffice, and now we got requests from the Primo VE customer, from one of key Primo VE customer, to allow the option to search against the CDI, but limit the search to specific discipline. So we consider that, and we decided to release first in Primo VE since there was a requirement from there. And we decided to let you define, when you are defining a scope against CDI, where you can determine whether to select a specific resource type or select a specific discipline from a closed list of disciplines, and or to create some kind of combination of both. So here is an example where you can define a central discovery scope and to choose a specific discipline. As I said, you can do a combination of both, and you can actually define a search, for example, that allow your user to search against all the resource types that are maps, for instance, under the discipline of history and archaeology. For instance, you can actually define that scope against CDI. And if you find this useful, please give us a feedback for that. So this is the idea, give you more flexibility to define specific disciplines. I don't think up to, I don't know, 4 or 5, and up to, and also specific resource type, and have it more restricted to that. So this will be coming in the March release, and we are waiting to hear from you on this feature. Next is another improvement to the related records. Now we used to add linking information for related records only relying on the fact that we have the subfield, the title subfield, the $T. We use this $T as the title to present it as the link to link. And we understand the customer that $T is not really necessary. We can have a linking without that when the $T is omitted, and those links weren't displayed in the Primo VE. And now with this enhancement, we are adding those links. And you will see the label. If they are missing the $T, we are going to add this link to related record as the label display. And while you are linking, it will take you, for instance, to this kind of identifier that you can find. So this is an improvement, making more accurate, showing more links, not necessarily making the $T as a mandatory one to create a link. So this is one of the improvement. Another improvement to the related records was as soon as we released the related records, for instance, for the series or the related title, we got feedback that this needs to be really sorted. So we are adding the sort. The sort is going to be added first we are going to sort the title by the relation type. We can have several relation type, for instance, units, for instance, contains, related to, or has supplement, and more and more. And all of those titles that are under these contains are going to be sorted alphabetically after that. So this is also coming from the idea as a feedback from one of the things that we released last year. Additional thing that I wanted to mention is there are some improvement that and planned activities that are planned to be during March, and I want you to acknowledge you on that. So we are going to improve the process of the CDI rights, the activation of the rights processing, and to make it more to efficient the performance. So the goal is to have the data process within the 48 hours to efficient your activation. So the CDI development team really worked hard in order to reduce the time, and they are going to start and release those improvements at the beginning of March. They are going to be a gradual release for the improvement and test whether it really did affect and change the time. You will be noticed and get additional update on that, but we just want to give you an advance notice for this planned activity. There is no work that is required from you. We're just going to update, and we are going to release those improvements gradually and keep you update on that. This is another thing. In the area of the Primo analytics, we also wanted to improve and give you more accurate report. We wanted to solve cases that we got where sometimes user actions within a specific day were reported on the day after. So for instance, some actions depending on your time zone that were taken like close to midnight may have been reported not within this day, but may have been reported to the day after. So in order to be more accurate and to really reflect all of the action within the same day, what we plan to do is to release an improvement for that. This is planned to be on April 3rd for the Canada data centers, and on April 10th for all of the rest of the data centers. We are going to release an improvement for that. The impact of this change on your Primo reports will be that when you are opening reports and you want to see like report, I'm generating a report now on Tuesday, okay, and the data that will be available and reflected in my report will be the data that is available up to 2 days ago. So that means that I will see the data up to Sunday, because we improve the process of that aggregate the daily action, and we really want to make sure that all of the data, all of the action are within the same full day. So we are taking this, we are changing the reports to reflect the data up to 2 days ago. So this is the meaning of this change. And it's planned to be rolled out, and the impact will be starting of April 10. Okay. Another thing that I want to share as a known issue, and that I let you know that we are working intensively on that. So there was an issue with the CSL for the APA 7 while you are generating the citation. It is missing the initial from the first name. And this has been reported to the CSL third-party vendor and developer, where we closely work with that. And the recommendation was for us to upgrade the CSL version. We did. We tried to do it for the February, and we give you an update for that. But once we upgrade and we did manage to see this solve the issue, we also did some massive tests and we discover other issues. So we didn't want to close one and open another one, and it was already close to the freezing time of releasing the February. So we give another ping pong with the CSL developer, and we need more changes to do while calling the CSL a little bit differently. This change is going to occur on the May release. We hope that the upgrade of the CSL will solve other issues. The CSL version will solve other issues that were reported, and it is what it is. I know that there is a delay. I just want to let you know that we are on it and we did the work, decided to delay it into the May release in order to give you to be able to do more testing, end-to-end testing, and make sure this will be solved and not cause other issues, of course. Okay, I think that I covered all of the things that I wanted with regarding to this quarter, and I also now want to share with you what is coming next in the next quarter. So what is coming next is View It enhancement, the ability to show all of the available links for the CDI records. For CDI records that have more than one link in record subscription, and also have a link resolver link, and may have other link like an open access link and all of that. We got requests from you to let your user be aware that additional links can see. So we are going to develop a more option, a show more, that will show you all, will expose the user to more links divided into three sections. The linking record will be on the top. After that, the link resolver, and then there will be an open access link at the bottom. So all of those links are going to be exposed to the user. Actually, we did work on that for this quarter, and this require much more testing. So we decided to release it in the next quarter. So expect to see this nurse enhancement coming. Another feature that we want to release is today when we are doing a search, we automatically expand the search to include matches also from the full text. In the May release, we intend to have this option as opt-in, so you can decide whether to include the full text match or not. We are going to do two phases for rollout for that. And in the August release, what we plan to do is out of the box, we don't want to expand the search to do the full text match. We will give you a configuration where you can decide whether to include to let your user to let it be determined by user selection. So we are going to add a toggle to the user in the toggle to the user in the interface. So the search out of the box won't include full text match, and if user wants to have them, it will have to toggle. Same as we have the expand my search beyond my library collection, it will be I want to also include in my searches matches against the full text. So it's going to be per user selection as a configuration. So this is one. And another thing, another nice thing that we are working is you requested to have out of the box an option to report a problem for the library. Library will have a new tool if they choose to activate it, where the user can report on certain items. You can choose 4 or 3 or 4 topics, common or other alternative one, and user will have to click on one of the topic to report, and they can determine and they can choose to also add a description of their issue to report and give you a feedback on that. There will be an optional way also to include the email within this tool. And if they're adding their email, they also have the consent that we can send them more information, like what the device that is being sent they are using, or and also we are going to send to a specified email in your library that you will specify all of this information of the issue that your user wanted to report. It will include also the context, the URL that the user is currently within, so it's also coming. More enhancement to the resource recommender. We are going to introduce you a new type, a banner type, where you can mark it on top of the results. It's going to be more visual. You can mark it for new event or expose material in more visual way. Another option that we are going to add to the resource recommender, you will also have the option to persist resource recommender. So resource recommender won't be necessarily appear under certain query term that you user type. You can choose to have it appear persistently. So if you have a month where you want to increase awareness to a topic, you can create a resource recommender and make it sticky on the top of the results the entire month. And you can also combine it with a new banner type, so it's going to be really a new cool thing to expose. And we're going to release also additional phase 2 for the exclude the ebooks from CDI that you already released. Last quarter we released exclude from CDI. Exclude from CDI, exclude the entire ebooks. Now we want to be more gentle here and not exclude the entire ebooks, but exclude the ebooks by the ISBN that we know that you already hold. So only exclude that in order to avoid duplication. You will be able to see other ebooks that are not within your holding. So this is the thought and the direction that we took in this phase 2. This is the thing that I cover now are highlights that are coming in both Primo and Primo VE. And we have also more dedicated for the Primo VE, more enhancement. We're going to enrich the search webbook to also include some restriction. For instance, once a specified user group, I want a restriction for this specific user group, allowing it or restrict it from seeing the content from the external search engine. So this is going to come. We are going to add a new level to the get it relevant. This is relevant for customer that have a lot of libraries, so they will have the option to have a library level before they are seeing their holding and items. So the user can select the library and then the holding and the item. Another thing that is coming is option to configure the mapping to when we are doing the export to RIS. You will be having in Primo VE option to customize the mapping. It exists in Primo. We want to give it also for the Primo VE. We are going to also support the pickup location ordering, showing the user campus or library the first, and then order alphabetically all the other. Open the normalization rules for the Dublin core. And so this is a lot of things that are coming in the Primo VE. And we have really, I think, a great 2022 here. And saying that, I also want to welcome and invite you to, in 2 weeks from now, on February 9th, we are going to hold a session explaining more on the Primo roadmap. We are going to publish before the roadmap, so you will be able also to ask questions. So please register to those. And I think that I actually cover all of the things that I wanted to share with you. They said please join us in the roadmap. I think that it's also time for the enhancements processing. Raise your processing. We will soon work with that with the Primo working group. We always like to get the feedback from you. If you are using one of the new, like the specialized scope one, please feedback us on that. And of course, thank you for joining the session. It was a pleasure to chat with you and also get the questions. And of course, stay healthy. And looking forward to see you in the Roadmap Web session as well.